It doesn't matter whether you are rich or poor as long as you've got money. Joe E. Lewis. It's hard to comprehend. In Luxembourg, the minimum wage is over $2,500, while in most African states, that amount is earned for an entire year of work. Why do some countries have so much wealth while others struggle to survive? Once you contemplate this question, it becomes difficult to let it go. To get a better understanding of the vast income gap, let's envision a parade. We construct a grandstand and watch as all 8 billion inhabitants of the world march before us. However, this is no ordinary parade. Each person's height is directly correlated to their country's wealth. Let's say the global average height is 180 centimeters. If a nation has an average income compared to the rest of the world, its citizens will be 180 centimeters tall. This means that in a poorer country with half the average income, individuals will only stand at a mere 90 centimeters, while those in a country with double the average income will tower at 3.6 meters. The procession begins with the poorest countries and gradually moves towards the wealthiest nations. Naturally, larger countries will take longer to pass by. The entire event spans 1 hour. In the first 5 minutes, we see mostly individuals from African countries between 7 and 35 centimeters tall. After 10 minutes, Indians stride past us at a height of 65 centimeters for a total of 13 minutes. There are many of them. Half an hour later, the Chinese follow and are still below average at 156 centimeters tall. It takes them 11 minutes to pass by completely. Eastern European countries such as Hungary, Slovakia, Czech Republic, and Poland appear after 50 minutes, standing at an impressive 360 centimeters tall, placing them among the top 20% of the world's richest populations with roughly double the average income. Not too bad. Finally, in the last 5 minutes of the parade, we see towering Americans at 6.5 meters tall, and in the very last minute, some massive Qataris at a staggering height of 18 meters. When did these huge differences emerge? There were no material differences between people when we lived as cavemen in huts and caves. The wealthiest individuals may have had slightly more resources, like a spear and a stick. However, overall, everyone lived day to day with similar means. This was also the case during the reign of pharaohs, emperors, and kings. They were lucky exceptions in poor societies. The emergence of powerful empires did not explain why there were income disparities between countries. Interestingly, this change did not occur gradually over time. It was a revolutionary event, the Industrial Revolution. On the graph, you can see how living standards fluctuated throughout human history without any clear upward trend. Then, suddenly, there was a significant increase with the Industrial Revolution in the 18th century. This second graph shows that countries that successfully embraced this revolution experienced tremendous economic growth and prosperity for their citizens, while others fell behind, creating a great divide. Now, let's address two important questions. First, why were humans trapped for thousands of years in terms of material well-being? Secondly, what made the Industrial Revolution such a significant turning point? It is time to talk about the fox and the hare. What is the typical lifestyle for foxes? The answer? Barely getting by. They don't have luxurious homes or money saved in a bank. As long as there are enough rabbits to eat, the foxes can survive. However, when there is an abundance of food, the fox population increases and there are less rabbits available for each fox. This leads to some of the overpopulated foxes dying off, and the number of baby foxes decreases, returning us back to the beginning of the cycle. In nature, animals are always living near the edge of survival. In the late 18th century, the English economist Thomas Malthus also predicted a grim future for humanity based on similar concepts. His theory was based on three simple ideas. A higher standard of living leads to increased fertility, better living conditions lead to a lower death rate, and as the population grows, prosperity declines. As more people are born into the world, there will be less food to go around. This prediction may not have been entirely accurate, but it does ring true in describing past civilizations. There were even cultures where elderly individuals voluntarily retired to remote areas or were taken care of by family members so as not to burden their limited resources. However, something shifted in the 18th century that gradually lifted many societies out of poverty. The answer lies in one powerful word: productivity. Imagine you're hand knitting socks. You can make about 10 per day. Then, you are given a high-tech knitting machine that can produce 3,000 socks in the same amount of time. That's what productivity is all about. How much output can be generated within a given period, whether it be an hour, a day, or a month. This surge in productivity is what fueled the Industrial Revolution, allowing for more goods to be produced and resulting in better income for individuals. Agriculture was also impacted by this increase in efficiency, for instance, with the transition from horse-drawn plows to tractors. But why did this all happen in the 18th century, and specifically why in Britain? The most widely accepted explanation is that Britain's movement towards democracy created an environment where innovation could thrive and the Industrial Revolution could take place. For example, the implementation of patent laws protected individuals from having their ideas stolen and used for someone else's profit. A society that encourages entrepreneurialism is crucial for improving living standards. During the Industrial Revolution, stronger countries were able to surpass weaker ones at the starting line. Still, over the past few decades, billions of people have been lifted out of extreme poverty by being included in global trade and commerce. Back in the 1960s, roughly half of the world's population lived on less than $2 a day. Today, that number has dropped to just 10%, meaning only 1 in 10 people live on such a meager income. You may be feeling confused right now. After all, there is a saying that the rich continue to get richer while the poor become even poorer. However, these graphs show a different story. Income inequality in the world has significantly decreased over the past 5 decades. So, what is the reality? It is undeniably a positive change that the world has become a more equal place when it comes to income. This means that the wealth gap between countries has significantly shrunk. Nevertheless, it is also true that income disparities within certain countries have grown. While China may be catching up, individuals like Jeff Bezos are still earning incomparable amounts compared to the average American. Most societies tolerate some degree of unequal income distribution. However, this depends on the source of the income. People are much more likely to accept other people's income and wealth if it is backed by incredible talent or hard work. Many people surely envy, for example, Steve Jobs, the visionary founder of Apple, or the brilliant soccer players Messi and Ronaldo for the huge sums in their bank accounts. But almost everyone accepts this without any problems. But when it comes to wealth acquired through dubious means or abusive position, many are outraged. Between the two extremes are, for example, the heirs of huge fortunes. Money must be earned. It can't just fall into our lap. How is income inequality measured? Let's take a break from terms like top 1%, top 10%, and so on. Instead, we can use the Gini coefficient, which is a more scientific approach. To calculate it, we need to chart the proportion of households on the x-axis and the proportion of household income on the y-axis. Both axes have a scale from 0% to 100%. If every household had an equal income, then half of them would have half of the income, one-third would have one-third, and so on. This is shown in the first figure, representing an ideal communist society. On the other extreme, the third figure shows complete inequality, with one person owning everything while everyone else has nothing. This is like ancient times when pharaohs were considered rulers of everything they owned. In reality, most societies fall somewhere in between these two extremes. See the middle graph. The curve line representing wealth distribution would be rounded, with half of households having less than half of the total income. The Gini coefficient measures how far this curve line deviates from an equal distribution. A higher Gini coefficient indicates greater inequality in a society. So, how much is too much? A heated discussion is currently taking place regarding the extent of societal and economic differences. Some experts argue that these differences, especially in the US, have gone too far. They point to issues such as the education system's inability to keep up with technological advancements, which disproportionately affects the lower class, tax breaks for large corporations through international tax systems, excessive market protection for those already in positions of power, and the considerable political influence held by influential firms. In summary, the rise of ideals and innovation, fueled by the Industrial Revolution, has liberated humanity from the struggle to survive. With increased productivity, we have been able to accommodate population growth and improve our standard of living. Although there are still countries struggling to keep up with this progress, overall, the world is in a much better place than it was in the mid-20th century. Thanks to global trade, billions have been lifted out of extreme poverty, and countries such as China and India are catching up with more developed nations. However, within each country, income inequality continues to widen. While some high-skilled individuals benefit from selling their innovations worldwide, others suffer from the consequences of rapid technological advancement. As we move into the 21st century, addressing income inequality will be one of our most pressing challenges. So, thank you for watching, and see you later.